What's going on, guys? It's Josh, and today we're going to talk about something really big that just happened with Bitcoin. It's going to change, I think, the market forever and have a pretty interesting effect on the market psychology and what it means. And before I get into that, if you're new, make sure you guys subscribe, turn on the notifications. We're posting at least one video a day, sometimes up to four. So make sure you don't miss them. And also check the link in the bio for a free stock trading course. We just released it, free trading chat. So want to get you guys in there. Definitely check it out. But now, what I want to talk about with what happened with Bitcoin, it's not going to look at Bitcoin. We're actually going to look at the stock market and Facebook. So you could see that trade I just made on it turned $60 into 1,700, and that was a good trade, but it means something really big for the market. And now, going back to Bitcoin, it's interesting. We've had an interesting week so far, interesting 2 weeks. A lot of good news on Bitcoin has came out. You have people talking from, it started with the BlackRock stuff. It started with, big investments. Some people were even saying the Rothschilds, and they are part of BlackRock, but they made some investments. They made a crypto trading team. Then you had applications for the Bitcoin ETF, and then it started with the CFA or test. They started accepting it, and really just good news after good news was coming out. And then also you're seeing declines in the Chinese, the yuan has been weakening, the yuan, and a lot of global currencies have been having some issues, and it's been making Bitcoin very attractive. South Korea even, they started regulating the industry, whereas before they were kind of against it. So all this good stuff happened, and today we did get a hit at close of market. The SEC rejected the Winklevosses, or Winklevoss, however you say their name. They rejected their application to make a Bitcoin ETF. So there was a 4% move, which was pretty big. But now what I want to talk about is how this 4% move doesn't matter anymore, and it's not scary. And now I don't want to jump to conclusions and say just because it happened and this happened, it means that, okay, it's okay now for Bitcoin to move. But what I want to talk about that was really big is the fact that Facebook, one of the top five weighted companies in the S&P 500, it's about, I think, 2.5% of the S&P is Facebook. It dropped 20%. And now after hours of 18, it hit a low of 30% in one day. And now this was the biggest loss in history for a stock. And also, it was because of an earnings report. So it's not like this just happened on any given Sunday like Bitcoin would drop. But what I want to say here is with this occurring, it changes the landscape for how people have viewed Bitcoin. A lot of people, this is why Warren Buffett doesn't like technology, and I'm sure he doesn't like Bitcoin as well too, because this type of stuff could happen. But the fact that a company as stable as Facebook, as heavily weighted, owned by institutions, and just all around a great company, for it to lose this much value in one day, I think moving forward, it really is going to change the narrative and psychology of investors, where now it's kind of like we're entering a new norm. And now I wouldn't say this is normal, but now it's more digestible. But looking back at Bitcoin's massive 60% drop, to see a top S&P 500 company drop 30% in one day, it kind of brings a little bit more of a narrative to this whole story of, yeah, things that go up a lot like Facebook, this is, you could look at the 3-year chart. Facebook doubled more, and again, that's way more money was lost on this than I think the market. I think half of the Bitcoin market cap was lost on Facebook today. I think if we check it, what is their market? Actually, no, just about 100 billion. So that's like Bitcoin going to zero, was how much wealth was destroyed with Facebook dropping. So it's when you put it into context like that and you see, wow, I can't believe that happened. And, people aren't saying Facebook's a scam, the stock market's a scam, anything like that. And now, is Facebook have a better track record than Bitcoin? Yes. Is it more safe and reliable? Yes. But it doesn't, and that's just because Bitcoin's new. But if this happened to Facebook 4 years ago, I think people would be saying what they're saying about Bitcoin. So that being said, I think it's really going to change how people view it, even investors' appetites now, because why are they going to now, if you could be susceptible to this type of drop now into any of the other stocks, a stock that comes to mind is NVIDIA, stocks that have really had these high run-ups, and if anything, one thing changes with them, they're going to be susceptible to hundreds of or billions and hundreds of billions of dollars of market cap loss and 30% declines. Why not invest a small portion in cryptocurrency? So I'm not advising you guys do that. What I'm saying is be on the lookout now for how people's perceptions change, and watch how this comes up in the argument, because this was a huge shift. I think it's an important shift. And going out forward, I think people are going to be on lookout for what stocks are going to do. And now it's making some of these moves and daily movements on such a large asset like Bitcoin more digestible. But even then, it doesn't mean that by any means Bitcoin is stable and that you should accept a 4-5% move in a day. However, you go look at stocks like Facebook, even Amazon before it shot up here. Now it's saying that it's break even, but after hours, even all throughout today, if we look at the 1 day chart, it moved from 1860 down to like almost like 1810. It was about another 2% day. And then I think the day before that, it dropped even more. So when you put all this into context, you could see, that there's a lot of weird movements happening in the stock market, bigger, more volatile, and I think it's going to open the door towards investors starting to embrace Bitcoin, and or at least now give more of a defense for the volatility. So I thought that was cool, and I say pay attention to some of the Bitcoin news coming out this week and what's been happening. Again, we're waiting for a few levels for it to trade at. I'm not technical, but Bitcoin, it does seem to follow these specific levels, and watch how much money comes in, and then also watch how the stocks and the earnings affect Bitcoin, and then again ultimately international politics, what's going on with some of these global currencies weakening and strengthening, and what that means for Bitcoin. So love you guys. Make sure you subscribe, check out the free course, drop a like, drop a comment, and give me some questions.